So one of the questions that we've been asked is, what should you use when you're cutting your own fringe at home? Well, honestly, anything that's going to be tidy enough, neat enough and accurate enough with a sharp edge is probably the best I can describe. Chisels, hedge trimmers, chainsaws. Now, not everybody has the luxury of having a very expensive pair of hairdressing scissors in the house, but hopefully we have a small, tidy, solid, sharp pair of scissors. That will work. Big scissors, like material scissors and anything with a very large blade, the hair's too fine. The scissor's going to fold the hair. A blunt pair of scissors or something that's not very sharp, well, you're just going to damage the ends of your hair. You're going to fray those ends like a piece of rope with a blunt knife. It's not good. Please don't attempt this unless you can find something that's sharp enough at home to be able to do it. Sometimes a quality pair of nail scissors are the best option. The blades are really tiny, so you can't go too far wrong with those. Use what you have, but try and use something sharp. So once we've found the actual size of section that we're happy with, again, the size of section dictating the amount of hair in the fringe, then we are getting ever closer and getting ready to cut. Once that falls down, we're just going to check the edges to make sure that the hair isn't too wide, too far away from the forehead, too far away from the side of the eyes. If we don't want a wide fringe, we don't need that to be too wide. If we want that to be slightly narrower, remember, we take some of the hair away from the triangular section. We don't need that. Okay, now I would always advise, and I'm going to say it again, and I've said it several times in the video, but always cut less to begin with and add more into your fringe if you need it. You can always add little bits in at a time, but we don't need to add too much in at once. I feel fairly confident that this is going to be a nice wide fringe, and again, we're pointing out that we're doing this fringe, we're keeping it shorter in the middle and we want the sides just to roll off around the eyes. We're ready to cut. We found our sections, we're happy with the size of it, we feel confident that that's going to be the right size and the right thickness of our fringe. So instead of cutting all the hair in one go, which it takes a bit of practice, and if you're brave enough and confident enough you can do this, but if you're not that brave, follow these steps and you'll stay safe. So we're going to section a little bit of the hair back away again from the fringe, okay, just straight across will do nicely, and we're going to pin that back up out of the way. So you can see here that we've got no saggy bits. The tension is all coming into the center and there's no lumpy bits or saggy bits. And if we cut that, the fringe is going to be wonky. So we need to just comb from the root, okay? Gently get the tension even into the center, all right? There's no point in holding this too tight. The majority of people are going to have growth patterns in their fringes. And if you pull the hair too tight, it's going to straighten those out, and when you cut the fringe, they're going to bounce back up and you're going to end up with another wonky fringe. So my suggestion and my advice is always just to lightly pull the hair down towards you. If you're happy with the tension is even, that's enough. Okay, so now we're ready to cut. If I'm cutting a fringe from nothing, I will always start at the bridge of the nose. That gives me a good inch to play with after the initial cut. Okay, we're happy with our tension. The hair's been pulled down to the bridge of the nose lightly, and then we're going to proceed to cut. Now we're leaving the hair an inch longer at this point so we can quite safely do a straight cut across the hair. Okay? Okay, before we continue, we've got the first cut of the fringe done. We know the fringe is an inch longer than it needs to be, but now we get a better idea of where that fringe is sitting on the face with all the growth patterns, with that extra length cut away. So we can have a look. It's still reaching down to the nose. It's staying fairly even. I'm quite happy that there's no growth patterns in there that are going to pull the hair up unnecessarily for me. So I'm going to reach the hair back together again and pull it into the center. Okay. Now remember, by pulling your hair into the center like this, it's actually going to give you an arc in the fringe. It's going to be shorter in the middle and longer at the edges. Now that's a softer fringe for most people, and that's what we're looking to achieve here. We don't want to comb that fringe and cut it with the hair falling parallel to each other and straight down. We want to gather that hair into the center and make a cut. Okay? Again, we'll check our tension. We'll pull the fringe down. Now this time, we're going to go in and point cut the fringe. And it's the safest way for you guys to cut your hair at home without going too short or making any of the edges too straight. Okay, and remember, for those thicker fringes, we're going to drop back down the rest of the section. Now that we've got the fringe roughly to the length we need it to be, now we've still got a little bit more to go, but at this point we're going to drop the rest of the hair in. And now we're going to match that up to the hair and the sections and the guidelines underneath. Okay, so we're ready to cut. At this point, we've sectioned away 50% of the hair, and now we're coming back in to trim that centimetre off the fringe that we need to remove, the 2 to 4 weeks, ready to go. So we're going to work in 2 halves for this model. If you have very thick hair, you might need to work with more sections. But quite simply, we're going to take 1 half, we're going to keep the tension not too tight and reach the hair towards the center of the bridge of the nose, and then we're going to continue to point cut the centimetre away. Now again, the reason for point cutting the hair is to make sure that we don't end up with too straight a line. It's not very forgiving and it takes a lot of practice to get right. So let's just stick to the point cutting. Now we're ready for the second half. And that's us done.